Hey guys, welcome to episode 3 of our Elementor in 5 minutes tutorial series. Today we'll be looking at the header element that is on screen somewhere here. Now today's episode is going to be extremely short. We're just going to look at the header element because what we need to do is we need to get to containers. But before we look at containers, we need to have some element that we can interactively use when we're investigating how containers work. And to go with that, we're just going to learn the header element today. Rather quickly, before we get started, if you are an entrepreneur or a business owner who would like to grow your business online, hit subscribe. At Zelhan, we have a goal of helping 1 million small businesses succeed by 2030. And we intend to do that by using the power of the internet, software, and technology. So let's get to the header element in episode 3 of our Elementor in 5 minutes tutorial series. The header of a page is going to be one of the most important parts. It's like when you're reading a newspaper and it gives you the title or the subtitle, or it labels the different sections, make it easier for navigating. And contrary to your belief, whenever a visitor comes to your website, they are not going to read everything. In fact, they will read the headers and the subheaders, and anything that grabs their attention, then they might read a supporting paragraph. So getting our headers right is important. The other thing that we should keep in mind is that for SEO, it's important to have just one H1 element or one H1 header on your page, and then you have supporting headers. So let's get started. What we have right here is also a header. This is a H2 header. It's also green. We can look at the style and click typography. We notice that the family is default. That's because the font has been set in the back end of the Elementor page builder. So we won't worry too much about that. What we're going to do is we're going to start with our own header. So we're going to go right here and we're just going to click on heading, drag and drop. We're going to say this is our H1. Now there are a few things that we can do at this stage. We can change the alignment to center or left or right or justified, but we're going to keep it centered. We're going to change this to H1. It's currently H2. The size, we won't go with that too much because these are very robust in terms of they're not very flexible. But what we will do is we will change the size by going into style, typography, and then we change the size. It's currently set to pixels. You can also use emphasis, relative emphasis, and viewport width. We will learn more about those in future tutorials. And by going to size, we can just change. So I like to use emphasis because it's a lot easier, but pixels is a little bit more mainstream. So we're just going to keep it to pixels. We're going to change it to 50. Okay, so this is a 50 pixel H1 element with the text. This is our H1. It looks the same as this, so we're good as the H2 here. So in order to fix that, what we're going to do is we're just going to change the font family. I like to use Roboto, Open Sans, or Poppins. But for this one, we're going to go with Nunito. No, let's go with Helvetica. So Helvetica is right here. And this is our H1. You notice it looks different. We can go with something else. Let's see, Times New Roman. Everybody knows Times New Roman. That's right here. But for this one, we have something very beautiful. And I dare say elegant because of the theme of the website. So we're just going to go with something a little bit more fitting. Let's see what we can find. So you can scroll through here and find all the fonts that you want. Interesting thing is that in future episodes, we're going to teach you how to import your own font. So if you have a custom font or there's a font that is not available here, then we can go with that. So right here, we're going to go with Alec Burke. I believe this is our H1. Going to make it a little bit bigger. Now, as you can see, this is not very thick compared to this one. That is, the H1 that we've made is not very thick compared to our subheading. So what we're going to do is we're going to change the weight. Now the weight is what you could call bold, if you might, but it's weighted in numbers. And this is just how it is in web development. The highest number is 900, which is extremely thick, and the lowest number is 100, and it increases from 100 to 900 in terms of thickness. So let's look at 100. Doesn't change. 300. Wait, this font is not affected by weight. So let's use another font, Alpha Slab 1. That looks like it's a little bit too thick. I'm just going to go with the tried and true Poppins. Let's go to Poppins. So this is 100 thickness or 100 weight on poppins. If we go to 300, that's it. If we go to 600, this is it. And if we go to 900, this is it. Now we're just going to stay at 400 for now. We are going to transform. So transform means that you can change how your text appears without you typing the change. So default, it's like this, where it is as it looks. So if you were to capitalize the I here in content, let's capitalize the S. That's the best way to go about it. Then the S is going to be capitalized. So that's default. So let's go back to style, typography, and transform. Uppercase means that everything is in caps. And that's just how it is. Now remember, everything here is in caps, but we did not type everything in caps right here. Very good. So let's go back to style and see another transformation. So another transformation is lowercase, and you guessed it, everything goes into lowercase. And the next one, which is really important, is capitalize, where every first letter of every word is in caps. So let's just go to capitalize, and as you can see, but the thing is that we did not have a lowercase letter for the S. It only affects the first letter of each word. So we can just remove that and fix our S, and that's fixed. And we can then go back and we can look at normal. Now normal is how you would read a book, you might say. So this is very good if you are a writer, you're writing a blog post and you want to correct all those mistakes where you might have a caps here or there that shouldn't be there, or a lowercase that shouldn't be there. This is your best bet. Now we also have the style, which is good. So you know, in citations you use italic. This is where you would get your italic. You can also get oblique. You could also use normal or default. And there's a dog barking in the background. Sorry about that, guys. Now, the one that's most important at this stage is our decoration. So we might want to underline or strike through. Let's go with that. So let's go with the underline. That's there. Let's go with overline. It's above. So underline, overline. not very difficult to understand. We also have line through, which is like a strike through. And I think you can change to a double strike through, but we'll figure that out and then we also have none. So if there's a text decoration already, so we're using a theme from Astra with a pre-built website just to see how everything looks. It's a little bit more interactive that way than to have a blank canvas. We might have had a strike through here. We can just go to decoration, none, and that would have removed the strike through. So that's where that comes in effect. We also have the line height. So the line height affects the space above and between. So it's not going to be shown very well here, but let's look at it here. So line height is going to affect the space between these two paragraphs, between these two lines, sorry. So let's go to typography. So this is on the subheading. Go to typography. We can change the line height. As you change it, it starts back at 0. So it goes, and slowly you can see it being separated from each other until it's extremely, by the way, my neighbor seems to have a Rottweiler, good looking dog, if you're into dogs. Let me just wait for him to stop barking. Okay, I think he's stopped. So this is our line height. Now for letter spacing, you can see letters being spread apart or closer together. Very close. So it's very close and very far apart. I'm going to keep it very close so we can see how best word spacing works. It's the same as letters but words. And you look at this, that's awesome. And that looks quite interesting, doesn't it? I think it's a little bit much. So let's change it here. Wait, just a bit. All right, that looks good. Now here's what we're going to do. We're going to change the font color for our first H1 that we were working on. And in so doing, we're going to have a little bit of a distinction. Now, I don't have any default colors set up because this is just a theme starter site that I'm working with. So we're just going to set our own color. So we go to text color. These are default colors. We could have used this one, but no, I don't like that. We can also use this one, which is very much what was there. And we can go with this, a slight variation. I'm going to use something that's just, this could not work. So I'm going to go with alert red. All right. And here we go. This is our H1. It stands out a bit too much. This is not web design class. And that's really it. Now, The idea is that in the previous episode, in episode 2, we already looked at margin and padding. We're just going to briefly go over margin and padding for our header element. So I'm going to keep it like this. So the margin, yet again, I think the best way is to, no, I won't use the border in this one because we already explained margin and padding. So we're just going to put emphasis 3 on the head, on the top, and the bottom. So 3 at the top, 3 at the bottom. Very good. And our padding, I'm going to go with emphasis 5, just to make it a little bit obvious what's happening. So emphasis 5 on the top and on the bottom. And that's it for our margin and padding. We won't go into the position and Z-index and CSS. We won't go into motion effects because that's going to be a little bit more in terms of web design. For right now, we just want to get an idea of how to actually get the element on the page and get the basic design done. But remember, the reason why we're going through all these elements is because we want to learn how to build websites for your business that will generate more leads and clients. And that's exactly what we're building up to. So we're first learning how to use Elementor to build websites. Then we're going to be building websites. And that is where all these nitty-gritty in terms of the transformation and the animations and so on is going to come in effect. So we're going to learn all of those nice things as it pertains to web design and UI, UX, that user interface, user experience, once we start building websites. But for today, we've already learned how to use our H1. Now that we know how to use our H1, we're just going to learn about the container element tomorrow. I don't think we're going to do that in 5 minutes, maybe 10, but it will still be episode 4 of our Elementor in 5 minutes tutorial series. And then once we learn how to use a container, every day we're going to keep posting a video or an episode on all the other basic elements. We also will do Elementor Pro, and we will just continue from this at this pace so that we can start building websites rather quickly. So if you're interested in learning how to build websites that generate leads and clients for your business, hit subscribe. If you have a business and you want to learn how to grow your business online, hit subscribe. And remember, at Zelhan, we have a goal of helping 1 million small businesses succeed by 2030. My name is JBS Roberts. Thank you for watching.